If you turn up every morning at 10 o'clock after a nice melange, cup of coffee, and you go straight to the formal meeting room, follow those discussions until the 1 o'clock lunch break, and continue from 3 to 6 in the afternoon, you will have a very unproductive time. The meeting will, of course, be dealing with important topics. You will have the national statements, you will have the reports from the Secretariat, and you will have the discussion in the formal meeting. But you're going to be missing where the work actually happens. Because negotiations in the crime program are usually done informally. That's when you fight out what the wording of draft resolution should be, or you do other types of preparations that then become a formal resolution. And it's these informal meetings, which by the way are limited almost invariably only to member states. No IGOs, intergovernmental organizations, or UN entities, or non-governmental organizations are allowed to be even in the room. So it's only the member states. It's these informal discussions or the informal negotiations, where the actual work of the UN crime program, of the UN crime program meetings is done. Because when you have an agreement in the informal negotiations, that is usually accepted by all in the spirit of Vienna. So when the chairperson of that informal negotiations goes to the formal meeting and says, Mr. Chairperson, Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairperson, we would like to report that we have successfully successfully agreed on the language of draft resolution L3, then everyone will breathe a sigh of relief. We can go on to L4 or L5, as the case may be. It has happened that after extremely difficult negotiations in the informal settings, you come to the formal meetings and report on those difficult the difficult negotiations, and everyone kind of breathes, oh, good, now we're done. Then someone will say, Mr. Chairperson, I'm sorry, but our delegation did not have an opportunity to participate in those informal negotiations, and we disagree entirely with paragraph 45 bis, and we would like respectfully request that this be open for discussion. It has happened, and it's unfortunate that it does happen. It's understandable because member states cannot be everywhere at the same time, but the assumption is that if something is important for your country, you will ensure that either your own delegation is represented, or you will basically ask a like-minded country to be represented and put forward your views so that you can go with the informal negotiation. That's part of playing the game, if I can use that term. And if countries do this too often, then it does, well, I hate to use that term, but poison the atmosphere, and that country will be looked at with some, well, I wouldn't say hostility, but with disquiet